Hello everybody, my name is Charles, you can call me Charwhale if you like. This is episode number 3 of Video Game Pickups. I apologize for the shoddy audio. I still don't have my computer back, so this is just, the audio here. I'm not using my my normal microphone, unfortunately, but I wanted to get a video out, and I really badly wanted to. I enjoy making these videos so much, and I really badly wanted to get a video out, so I've done a lot of thrift storing and a lot of yard sales and flea markets and the such, and I actually found a pretty good amount of stuff. These are mostly separate things, so these are mostly picked up either individually or a couple at a time. So I'm just going to get right into it. The first video that I had of this, more of a speedy introduction and just a gloss over is what it seems like you guys were looking for, so that's what I'll do. This is actually really cool. I had never seen this before. I wish I had it as a child, though. It's a rechargeable battery pack for Game Boy Advance. I did not know they made these. It's not actual batteries in there, if you can see. It's weird sort of... I don't know how to explain it, but it's it's rechargeable, which I thought it was really neat. If I had one of these as a kid, I would be super happy. But I didn't realize what it was until I looked right up here and I saw the brand. That's a Game Shark brand, and if you don't know what Game Shark is, they made a ton of cool. For the most part, it was mods and things like that, things that would let you mod your game. I also saw this logo, and this logo I actually am pretty familiar with because they made these cool. I don't know how to explain them, but it made your Game Boy feel like a controller. You would hook your Game Boy into it, and then you would play it. I had one as a kid, and it was fantastic. It helped a lot with grip if you had bigger hands. And you could play your Game Boy in a controller. It was a lot of fun. It was great. If I had my computer, I would have put a picture up, but unfortunately I don't. I'm sorry. Next, I found at a thrift store, actually. I have never seen this TV show. And I hear all the time that it's a pretty good TV show, but, I don't watch TV very much. I mainly picked it up so my nephew could play it. I don't know if he watches it either, but, regardless, it was, I'm not exactly the type of person who brags about price, but, a 3DS game for $1. Even though I've never seen it before, I'm not going to pass on that, because that's not bad. I think this came out in, 2013, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it says on the box, but it is a little beat up here. As you can see, it looks like someone cut into it, which is unfortunate, but, whatever. It looks relatively fun. I played it for maybe 5 minutes, and it was pretty cool. The next 3 games I found all at the same time, and I'm just going to show you this as I talk about it. They're all PC games, but in my opinion, PC games within the past 10 or 15 years, maybe, something in there, they're basically worthless, in my opinion. The only reason I bought these is because I have some sort of emotional connection to them, whether I played them when I was younger, or I really enjoy the franchise, something like that. But this is Halo Combat Evolved, of course. The reason I bought this one is because I am a huge fan of Gearbox. Bungie, not as much anymore, but I'm a huge fan of Gearbox. I'm not too big into the Halo series, even though I do have an Xbox. I do like the Halo series, don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's a cool series. Definitely visually appealing. But, never really been a FPS fan, to be entirely honest with you. Nor am I really a third-person shooter fan, so the majority of the Halo series just isn't for me. And it also looks really nice if you put it sideways. That's beautiful. I like the Gearbox right here, too. I love Gearbox. They're such a good company. They make, or at least they're in so many good games. The next one is actually a pretty cool one. I haven't played this game in a long, long time, but when I did, I actually really enjoyed it. It is a game called The Suffering. It is super spooky. Definitely don't recommend this to the youngins, but it's cool. It was a cool game. It was a lot of fun. Again, I'm not a huge fan of first or third person shooters, but this game, it gets a little bit of an exception. Just because it reminded me a lot of Well, I don't even know if I can say that, but it definitely it's relatively unique. It's it's got a lot of combat in it, and it's just fun. It's just really fun overall. I do like Midway a lot as well, and it looks really nice from the side. Like I said, though, PC games from the past 10 or 15 years, in my opinion, aren't really worth much. Mainly because you can just kind of download them. You know, like, what's the uniqueness of owning one if you can just download it? And the final PC game that I got is the original Far Cry. I kind of like this game. I think it's fun for the exploration. I don't really like the combat, but I like that you can sort of... You have a whole island to explore, and that's really nice. I do really enjoy that. The combat, like I said, there was a little bit lackluster in my opinion. Mainly because I don't really like FPS games that much. But if I'm going to play an FPS game, it's going to be a single-player FPS game like this one. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with it. I still think that it's a fun game. Especially the newer ones. I haven't played Far Cry Primal, but I do hear that it's pretty good. So I might have to play that in the future. Oh, I actually lied. I have one more recent PC game. It is Neverwinter Nights 2, and the only reason I picked it up is because I adore it. I think it's a ton of fun. I love the Neverwinter Nights series. They are the closest thing that anyone has ever gotten to Dungeons and Dragons, aside from Dungeons and Dragons, if that makes sense. I'm not a super hardcore D&D fan, but you know, I enjoy the games. I don't really like playing it in person, but I do think that's a very fun game. More people should play it, even though a lot of people do play it and it has a pretty big following. But regardless, moving on now. I guess I'll do the Gamecube games first. I picked up a couple Gamecube games. The first one here is a game I had never seen before, actually. It is SX Superstar. Never seen it, never heard of it. Did take all the stickers off all of them except for this one, because that's on the actual spine, which makes me so sad. And a couple of them don't have this barcode here. This one does, which is nice, but a couple of them don't, and I don't understand why. Must have been from the same owner, I guess, but, you know, that's fine. The majority of the GameCube games actually came from one thrift store. Separate visits. I know when they restock, so I go there whenever I can. The next GameCube game is Star Wars Jedi Outcast, which is actually pretty fun. I remember playing this game when I was younger. I remember playing it 2-player, actually. It's a ton of fun. I really recommend it. I'm not really huge into Star Wars. Yeah, this is one of them. Doesn't have a barcode. I'm not really huge into Star Wars, but you know, I do enjoy the games more so than the movies, I think, even though I haven't really seen many of the movies. Moving on, we have Metroid Prime, which I thoroughly adore, as I'm sure you could guess, which also doesn't have the barcode, right? Yeah, also doesn't have the barcode, unfortunately. But the Metroid series is among my favorites. Easily among my favorites. One of my favorite series in general of all time. What I really like about this, though, is it links to Metroid Fusion, and when you link it to Metroid Fusion, it lets you play the NES Metroid. So that's a lot of fun. You, of course, have to beat Metroid Fusion to do that. I think you also have to beat Metroid Prime. Not entirely sure, but this is a fantastic game, and they are coming out with, I think it's Federation Force, the new Metroid game. A lot of people seem to not really like it that much, but I don't really like to complain about a game before I play it, so that's in the same family as Metroid Prime. The final GameCube game is Super Mario Sunshine. Fantastic game. Not gonna lie to you, one of the best games in the Mario franchise. Fantastic game. Every single one of these games is complete as well. Game and manual. So, Super Mario Sunshine, I like the island feel to it, and this one does have a barcode, so that's nice. I do like the island feel to it. I think it's very nice. I really like this game. It's a game that I struggle to find a reason why I enjoy it, because it's so basic, and it just... I don't want to call it basic. It's different. It's not a normal Mario game. I don't know. It's hard to describe it in a way that'll do it justice, because I'm making it sound like it's bad. It's really not bad. It's fantastic. It is 10 out of 10, one of the better games I've played in my recent times, but regardless, not even in recent times, I played that so long ago. Let's move on to the original Xbox games. I got 3. This first one I had never seen before, actually. Never even heard of it, to be fair. It is Brute Force. I've never seen it. It was just in the same box as another Xbox game that I found, and when I saw that game, I just kind of picked it up and whatever was near it, because I know it's a ton of fun and I've played it. I'll show you that in a minute, but this one actually looks pretty decent. I actually have not gone around to playing this one yet, but I have read the box a couple times over. I've looked at all the pictures. I've looked up a review. It seems decent. It doesn't look horrible, so it definitely looks like something I could play. Maybe not for very long, because this isn't my type of game. Like I said, I'm not a shooter fan, but, you know, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty fun. Then we have, to go along with our Halo 1, we have Halo 2. Why not? It was there. Why would I not get it? This is also the same place that I got Brute Force, right next to it. Sorry if you can hear all the sticking. These games are super sticky. I don't know why. I think it's because I took the sticker off in certain parts, but it's like, yeah, ugh. This is a fun game, though. In my opinion, this is one of the weaker of the Halo games. I've played a lot of them, and I own a lot of them. Halo, in my opinion's only appeal is multiplayer. And by that I mean co-op. I don't mean the actual multiplayer. I'm not a huge fan of multiplayer games like that. But regardless, it's really nice looking, pretty decent condition. Case is phenomenal too. This is the game that I saw that I knew was one that I had to have. It is Conquer Live and Reloaded. This is a fantastic game. A ton of fun. It is a little bit different than Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64, even though it says it's just a port. It's not. It's different. It's a Conker game. It's just so much fun. Microsoft looks like they're doing something different with Conker recently, or as of late. They will be releasing something different with Conker, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but this is a Rare game, as you can see right there. That's nice. I love Rare. But I don't really know if I like what they're doing. I haven't played the game, so I can't have a solid opinion on it, but, you know, it's not really looking too good. But this game is actually pretty expensive right now. Ugh. Sorry, that's such a weird noise. This game is pretty expensive right now. Not as expensive as Conker's Bad Fur Day, but, you know, it's getting there. That's not really what I'm worried about. If I buy a game that it's not going in my collection, it's just going to be trade bait, which means that I'm going to try to trade the game for a game that I don't have for my collection. So price isn't really something I'm looking for right now. But this is a pretty expensive game for how old it is. Moving on, I have 2 Xbox 360 games. The first one is Saints Row. I think recently I picked up a Saints Row game and I went over it. I think. I'm not entirely sure, but these games are kind of fun. They're fun in like they're fun in a weird way. They're not fun in a conventional way. They're just, they're mindless games, if that makes sense. They're games you don't really think about, you just kind of play them. I think they're alright. I don't think they're fantastic, but I certainly think they're alright. This is the first one. I did have this, I think when it came out, actually. Ugh. That noise is so nasty. But I think I got this when it came out. It was a lot of fun when it first came out. I don't know what happened to it. I think I let someone borrow it, but now I have it back, so this is actually not a duplicate, believe it or not. So I'm cool with that. Then the second 360 game is a game that I have never actually owned for the 360 physically. I have had it downloaded, but I've never actually owned it, and it's Grand Theft Auto 4. I actually really sort of enjoy the Grand Theft Auto series for the same reason that I sort of enjoy the Saints Row series. They have very similar appeals. Saints Row is more whimsical, and Grand Theft Auto is more serious, in my opinion. But, you know, they're both fantastic games. What can be said about one usually can be said about the other. This does have the map in it as well, so that's cool. I'm not going to take it out because it's probably super loud, and you wouldn't be able to see it anyway because it's super big. Moving on to the final two games. The first one is not a duplicate, and the second one is. The first one I remember playing vaguely. It's called Black. I don't really remember everything about it, but I vaguely remember playing it, and I vaguely remember it being pretty decent. Again, it's not really my forte. It's an FPS. I'm not really huge into FPSs, and it's EA. Not really huge into EA. Not really trying to give any company bias, but I've never really been huge into EA. The graphics, though, I can say, from the back of this box, look really good on the guns, even though I'm not really big into firearms in any way. Black, I have memories of it, but I don't really know why. But I think it looks pretty good. Should be good. Should be fun. And then the last game is, of course, a duplicate. That is Kingdom Hearts. The original Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation 2, back when Square Enix was still Squaresoft. This game is fantastic. I love the heck out of this game. Played it so many times. This is, of course, not the first Kingdom Hearts I have. I have another one over on my shelf. This game is phenomenal. I would highly recommend it to someone who hasn't played it, and I would highly recommend it to any youngins that haven't played it. I think it's rated E for everyone. Fantastic game. I would recommend it to a younger audience. It does have Disney characters in it, which is really cool. See if I can't find any. Yeah, there's a Disney character right there for you. I'm pretty sure the majority of the characters in this are Disney, but, you know, it's neat. It's fun. Even if you're not a fan of Disney, I still think this is a fun game. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see them. All of them. The majority of the bosses are also Disney, so that's really cool. My favorite character in this has to be good old Jack. But regardless, that's what I picked up recently. Total of, I think, 6 trips to a thrift store, 2 thrift stores. I know when one of them restocked, so I went twice a week on the days that they restock, and then I went 2 times in 2 weeks to another one because I know when they restock as well. Sounds a little scummy, but you do what you gotta do, I guess. And some other stuff was also from flea markets and garage sales. Can't tell you exactly what was from what, but, you know, if you've missed this nice mat, there you go. I love this thing. It's so good looking. Thank you very much for watching, though, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and I especially hope that you learned something. I hope you play these games along with me in the future. And thank you very much for watching once more, and I'll see you in the next episode.